Hello everyone, welcome to the Jewish Week Online. I'm your host, Aaron Herman. How do you select wines for a wine tasting? It's not easy. We had the opportunity to catch up with some of the judges for the Jewish Week's Grand Wine Tasting at the City Winery. Let's take a closer look.
We're on day 2 of the tasting trials. We're doing the reds under 25 and off to a good start so far.
And did anything surprise you in your process?
Yeah, some of them are coming through with some quite nice flavors. Others are a little bit on the low-end side, but that's the whole point of doing the judging.
And do you have a sense of what companies, or you kind of...
Every once in a while you get a hint of who belongs to what and what belongs to whom, so it's nice to think, and I think we each have in the back of our minds that we're going to take a look later on and see how correct our thoughts were.
Being a judge in this competition is it's enjoyable, but it could be very stressful.
Stress isn't the right word. You tell a friend, I'm at a wine tasting, oh, lucky you, nice job you have. This is a lot of work. It really is. It's a tax on your mouth.
And when did you get into wine?
At my bris, I think it was shoved in my mouth, and I've been drinking it ever since.
And
am I wrong? Yeah.
And you've gone through a number of competitions. And how do you prepare yourself to taste all this wine?
Well, it's like building for a marathon. You go home and you drink really as much as you can till you pass out, and you just keep drinking and drinking and drinking, and you got to learn to go through 30, 40, 50 bottles at a time. It's a lot of training.
It's work. It's work.
Like I said, it's a marathon. We're in the middle of the marathon. We haven't even hit Heartbreak Hill here yet, and today's the toughest day. This is actually more like the French cycle thing where it's multi-day. Today's we're all uphill. It's a grueling day because this is the reds under $25, and there's a lot of them, and some of them are not so good.
And what makes a wine good?
Well, that's a tough question. Somewhere in the Talmud is the answer, and I don't know it. First of all, this is a very subjective sport, if you will, right? What I like, you might not like, or Yossi might not like, or might not like. So we all have different opinions because it's really a subjective thing. So we're putting our scores down. We'll take an average, and then it's really an average of a bunch of subjective opinions. However, one's hoping that as someone who's drunk as much as I have, and as much as we all have, that we're getting some opinions in subjectivity, though, that's based on some level of discretion.
You are a judge in this competition.
Yep.
And how hard is it for you?
It's pretty hard. I mean, I've tasted a lot of wines in one setting a lot of times before, but tasting a lot of wines at once is actually hard work. You tell your buddies that tasting wine all day, and they're like, oh, I wish I had your job. It's not actually my job. It's my hobby. But going through 50, 60 to 100 wines in one setting and actually trying to get something out of them or score them or get some nuances out of them is really hard. Red wines, the ones that we're tasting today, happen to be the hardest. They have a lot of tannins, a lot of wood in them. That just makes it harder, and after 20 wines, your mouth is really swollen and dry, and you got to take a break and really pace yourself, and it really takes, I guess, experience to be able to do that in one setting.
And tell us a little bit about the scoring. Like, how do you decide?
So, I mean, we're scoring the wines on the 100-point system, sometimes known as the Robert Parker system. But really, the wines tend to all range in the probably 70 to 100 range, with I'd say the biggest cluster is probably 85 to 95. So it's more like a 20 or 30-point system. But what we do is we break down the wines into which varieties or which types of wines they are. So we're tasting all the cabs together, so they're really judged against each other, and it's more of a sense of the 10 cabs did you taste, which was the best and which was the worst, and they're really ranked in that manner. So scoring really presents a way of saying, hey, this is the best cab that we tasted, or this is the best Merlot that we tasted, or something like that.
And how do you get picked?
How do you get picked?
Yeah.
Well, you have to taste good. You have to have, I mean, there are a lot of components that go into a wine. I mean, a lot of it's subjective. Different people have different palates. And among the 6 or 7 judges, you have a wide range of people and a wide range of palates. I mean, there are general things that always make a wine better or worse, whether it has to be balanced, you have to have good structure, the various parts of the wine all have to work together, the fruit, the wood, the acid, the tannin, and you taste a lot of wines, you begin to learn, what constitutes a better wine from a technical perspective, and then the ones that you like better are the ones that you're obviously going to score higher.
What's your process?
The process is evaluating based on what I'm tasting, and every wine has its own unique flavor and taste, and it's just comparing and contrasting one to another.
And when you're doing this tastings, what are you looking for in a wine?
With red wines, you're looking really for the tannins, the mouthfeel, the sugar, just bringing all the components together. If it's too tannic or if it's too sweet or too much fruit forward, it wouldn't be a classic, really put together wine. So it's kind of bringing all those flavors and all those component parts together.
And you go through many, many, many glasses of wine. How do you stay sober?
Yeah, am I sober right now? Wait a second. Just it's about enjoying it and tasting the wines and spitting a lot, as you can see. So it's a lot of fun.
As you can see, being a judge in a wine competition is complex, but fun. You can see who are the winners of this competition at the March 11th Jewish Week Grand Wine Tasting at the City Winery. This is Aaron Herman, and thanks for watching.